Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to second session of deep learning for teens. And today I'm gonna talk about the difference between ANN and NN. Then I'm gonna go through dense layer or for fully collected layer. I'm gonna talk about activation function, but I'm gonna add some more detail about it. And then dense layer, and actually when we use what kind of what type of activation function. And I'm gonna go to optimizer, type of optimizer, and when we use them, and the difference between batch gradient descent, stochastic gradient descent, and mini batch gradient descent. I'm gonna talk a little bit about the forward pass, but as you know, we already talked about it, but I'm gonna add some more detail to it. And loss metric, and batch size, and finally, I'm gonna have an interesting assignment or homework for you guys. Okay, let's get it started. So first, I'm gonna finish this presentation, and then we go through coding part, and you will understand each part as well. Okay, what's the difference between NN and ANN? NN is a general term for any model made of connected artificial neurons. Okay, but ANN is artificial neural network, and it actually contains at least three layers. So we have input layer, hidden layer, and output layer. So we can use it for classification or regression tasks. And the interesting point here is every ANN is a is a NN or neural network, but not every NN or neural network is an ANN. So this is the interesting part, but let's keep going. I want to talk about the dense layer or fully connected layer. So in dense layer, every neuron is connected to every neuron in the next layer. So let me show you the picture. So here, this is the input layer, but also it is a dense layer because every neuron is connected to the neuron in the next layer. So, and for this one, we can see something. This is hidden layer, but we have something like that. Every neuron is connected to the neuron in the next level. So I'm something for this one, and that's it. Okay, about the activation function. We already talked about the activation function, but I'm gonna give you more detail. So each neuron takes an input and multiply by some weights and bias, and then passes through an activation function. So activation function is actually the job of the activation function is deciding about a neuron is deactivate or not. So we have some activation function. Today I'm gonna talk about the different activation functions. We have sigmoid, we have tenacious, we have relu, wiki, relu, and other stuff. So which one is good for us? If I want to talk about the neural network, so we usually for hidden layer or hidden dense layer, we usually use value, but we can actually feel free to use other models as well. You can use leaky value or other models. And for output dense layer, we have sigmoid and softmax. It depends on your actually case. If you have a binary classification, you need to use sigmoid. And if you have multi-class classification, you need to use softmax. Okay. Today in my code, I'm gonna use softmax because I have 10 classes. Okay. And this is the reason. And what about the optimizer? Optimizer is this one actually. So every time we start with actually this layer, so uh, we add some. Actually, we first of all we initialize W and D, and then we actually make Z. And here we're gonna give this one to activation function, and so we're gonna do that for all the parts, and then for optimizer. So for here we calculate the loss as I told you last session. We calculate the loss and then we do backward propagation. So it means we have an optimizer usually. We use something like gradient descent or Adam optimizer for most of the cases. And if we back to presentation, in deep learning, an optimizer is the algorithm that update the weight based on actually minimizing the loss. Okay, and here we have the loss, and we just want to do the backward propagation, and we can do that by using some algorithm like Adam optimizer or gradient descent. So we have updated W and D, and we do the same stuff as we have done in the last session. Okay, and then so this is the famous this is about the famous optimizer. We have SGD, stochastic gradient descent. We have momentum, and we have autograd, RMS prop, and we have Adam and Nadam. Okay, and in practice, we usually use Adam all the time. So we can use Adam all the time. So if we have a classification task like CNN or other stuff, we can use Adam, or if we have an NLP or sparse feature, also we can use Adam as well. And for the other stuff, so Adam is the optimizer that we can use all the time. So this is good. So I'm gonna tell you the difference between batch gradient descent, stochastic gradient descent, and mini batch gradient descent. So batch gradient descent is easy somehow because we uh, assume something like this. We have a million records or samples. So in batch gradient descent, we go through all the records that we have, for example, 1 million records. So we need to go through all of them. So the bad thing about this is actually uh, the computation time or computation is gonna go too high, and we don't want to do that. So in order to actually somehow overcome to over computing computing stuff, we can use a stochastic gradient descent. A stochastic randomly pick one sample uh, in each record, and so one sample is not that much enough, so we can use something like mini batch gradient descent. So in mini batch, instead of one sample, so we use several samples, and so that's kind of interesting because we don't have high computation, and also we can use mean batch gradient descent that's gonna cover both of these guys. Okay, and if we go to forward pass, uh, so we already talked about the forward pass in last session. So here we start with some initial value. We have some initial value. We start with some initial values for weight and bias, and we actually make Z as well here. So we go through all the neurons that we have, and finally here we go to the last layer, and so here we're gonna define the loss actually, and by using some optimizer like gradient descent or Adam, we gonna actually update the W and B here. Okay, let's back to presentation here. So here we have weighted sum. Weighted sum actually is z w x w times x plus b, and we have the activation function as I told you. So for each neuron, and then we gonna do layer by layer propagation, and then we have the final output, and at the end we're gonna actually compare or calculate the loss. Okay, loss is nothing, just the we gonna in loss we compare our actual data with what our model guess. Okay, and here so we can see much better. We have initialized value, and we have forward pass. We have we're gonna compute the loss. We do the propagation, backward propagation. We update the loss, or sorry, update the weights, and we're gonna do that till our criteria stop somehow. So it means if we reach end of epochs, or if we have um, something like something like a point to a stop. I mean some values for loss actually. If it's less than that, so we're gonna stop it somehow. Okay. Okay. Now we're gonna talk about the loss. I told you the difference between actual Y and predicted Y, and we have the different types of loss. For regression tasks, we usually use MSE, mean square error, or MAE, or other stuff. And for binary classification, for classification tasks, we use binary cross entropy. And if we have multi-class classification, we're gonna use categorical cross entropy or a sparse version of that. So for today, I'm gonna use a sparse. The difference between these two is this one. For categorical, we have something like so. Uh, we for a sparse we have numbers 0 to, for example, 9, but for these ones we have categorical values. Okay, let's go about the talk about the metric. Metric is just a way to measure how well your model is performing. We usually use accuracy or loss, but most of the cases we're gonna use accuracy. You can use precision, recall, and F1 score as well. And about the batch size, this is a batch size actually in the code. I just mentioned that. So we're gonna see that in a minute. So batch size simply means how many training samples the model processing before the updating its weight. Okay. And now let's go to coding part. So I'm gonna use digit dataset here, and I'm gonna load it somehow, and actually I split the data into train, test, and also I'm gonna use the validation data. So you see is I use 70% of the data for actually train, 50% for validating, and same for test. So here we have three layers actually. So this one is the shape of our input, And so in this one the output is 64 neurons, and the activation is value as I told you. So because this is somehow connector layer. And so for the next layer, again we have 32 neurons, we use this value. And the last one we have 10 neurons because we have 10 numbers. And for the activation we use soft max, and the reason is then our actually our outputs are from 0 to 9. Okay. And for compiling, so I use for optimizer I use Adam optimizer. For loss I use sparse categorical cross entropy. And I told you the reason. So because we have the numbers here, we have the number, it's not binary because it's from 0 to 9 more than 2. And for metrics I use accuracy. And here I just use training data here. And I have 25 epochs. It means it's gonna update the values 25 times. And update the weights and bias. And it's gonna go through all the data. And batch size is 16. I just mentioned batch size. And for validation I use xval and yval. Yeah, this is gonna take some time, but that's a small data set. All right. Okay, great. And here I'm gonna calculate the loss and accuracy. And just I'm checking if the face overcoming or not. If you need to more, if you need to more about the overcoming, I just talk about that in machine learning part. And machine learning studies, if you need to know more about that, you can take a look and understand what will happen next. So I'm checking this one. So for overcoming it's for terrain data it's 1, it's perfect. And for test data it's 97. Not that much difference between these two. And we can see no over no actually, yeah, we can see no overfitting is happening here because they are close to each other. And if we just plot it, you can see, all right. So for we have 25 epochs, and you can see the loss for terrain and validation data. And you can see after 10 epochs it's almost same. It's not changing that much. It means after 10 epochs we don't need that anymore, so the accuracy not going up that much. So 10 epochs is enough for this data set. Okay. And finally I'm going to talk about the homework. So I want you guys use diabetes data set from SELab and build ANN. And actually have several different layers, and select the right loss function, activation function. And also about the metrics. And I want you guys use the best optimizer that you can. Okay guys, thank you so much, and see you in next session. Thank you. Bye.